Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be talking about a nice SAT topic, or a topic that's seen on the SAT that relates to averages. Now, when we think of an average, what you're actually really thinking about is something called the arithmetic mean, because there's actually all different types of averages. There's a geometric average, and so we want to make sure we understand that when we're finding the arithmetic mean, it means that we're finding the average that you're familiar with. Now, the thing I find interesting about averages is most of you can tell me that if I'm trying to find the average of something, I add up all the numbers, I divide by the numbers I have, and that'll give me the average. But I think it's important for you to understand it as a formula. So if you think about that as a formula, you just, to find the average, you take the sum of your items, okay? It could be tests, it could be times at bat, whatever. And then you divide by the number of items. Divide by the number of items, and that will give you the average. But that's the basic. That's what we learned in pre-algebra. There is an equivalent form that you have to think about. Now, in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, you learned something about literal equations. So if I think of this as a literal equation, couldn't I actually write this over the number 1? And if I think of that, then I can actually clear fractions or cross multiply, and you would get that the sum of the items is equal to the average times the number of items. And I will tell you that this is probably the most useful formula, if you want to call it that. This equivalent form is more useful than this one on standardized tests, understanding why it works the way it does. So here's an example. Chad recently launched a new website. In the past 6 days, he has recorded the following number of daily hits: 37, 29, 37, 56, 45, and 38. He's hoping at week's end to have an average of 40 hits per day. To achieve this, how many hits must he have on the final day of the week? Okay, so we know that we're talking about 7 days, and we know that the average is 40. So we can use the equivalent form that the sum plus that additional, I'm going to call it x. I'm going to let x equal the hits on final day. That sum of the first 6 plus x has to equal 7 times the average. 7 times 40, which is 280. Okay, so I'm going to add up 37 plus 29 plus 37 plus 56 plus 45 plus 38. And that gave me a sum of 242. I have to add that additional x, and I know that that value has to equal 280. So now if I just solve this as an equation now, balance the equation by subtracting 242 to both sides, and 280 minus 242 is going to be, 280 minus 242 is going to give me 38. So he needs to score 38 hits on the final day in order for him to have an average of 40. Okay, so again, thinking of averages and equivalent forms. We talk a lot about the idea of they want you to be able to see the equivalence of different forms of equations. I find that the sum of the items is equal to the average times the number of items is the most helpful. All right, guys, hope you have a great day.